Greeting adventurers and happy Halloween. My name is David and this is Abnormal Voyages. Today for our Halloween special, we are here in San Jose, California. We are going to tackle a ghostly mystery that's been around for over 100 years. We are at the world famous Winchester Mystery House. We're going to go inside, hold a seance, and see just what we can discover about this amazing location. Tag along if you dare.
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
By any standard, the Winchester Mansion is absolutely amazing. This astonishing location boasts 24,000 square feet, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 160 rooms, 52 skylights, 47 stairways and fireplaces, 17 chimneys, 13 bathrooms, and 6 kitchens. It had a price tag of about $5 million, which in 1923 would equate to $71 million today. At first, it may just seem like an opulent, beautiful home. But the story of its history and of its owner, Sarah Winchester, remain to this day quite a mystery. Now, Sarah was a big fan of gardening and plants, so she had extensive, beautiful gardens outside. Before the sun goes down and the ghosts come out, we're going to take a quick stroll to show you the famous Winchester Gardens. As we journey across the grounds, a little bit about the history of this mansion. Sarah was born Sarah Lockwood Pardee in 1839 in New Haven, Connecticut. A little while down the road, on September 30th, 1862, Sarah would marry a man named William Wirt Winchester, who was the only son of Oliver Winchester, who was the owner of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. The Repeating Arms Company was a very popular gun manufacturer, and in fact, the model 1873 was even marketed as the gun that won the West. Needless to say, they were responsible for a device that took quite a few lives. However, none of that bothered Sarah and William. They were busy having a wonderful life together. On June 15th, 1866, they welcomed their first daughter to the world, Annie Winchester. Unfortunately, she would pass away a little over a month later on July 25th. The Winchesters were inconsolable and distraught over the loss of their daughter. And for Sarah, the tragedy didn't end there. Soon after, all within the span of a year, she would lose her mother, her father-in-law, and even her husband, William. This left Sarah with a massive inheritance, which was about $20 million. Today's money, that would be $561 million, as well as a 50% holding in the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. It quickly made her one of the wealthiest women in the world at the time. But even with this wealth, no amount of money could bring back the lost loved ones she mourned for. Overcome with grief, legend says that Sarah reached out to a spiritualist, a medium who could contact the dead. She was hoping to contact her husband and find some comfort from him. Unfortunately, the medium had no solace for Sarah, only a warning. He claimed the tragedies were a result of the blood money that the family had made off the Winchester rifles. He warned that the spirits would be after Sarah next. For her protection, she was told to build a home for herself and for the spirits who have fallen from this terrible weapon. She was advised to leave Connecticut and to move out west and begin her grand project. And now we enter into the Winchester Mystery House. If Sarah wanted to remain safe from these vengeful spirits, there was a catch. She could never stop building on the house. The medium said, if you continue building, you will live. Stop, and you will die. It seems Sarah took that to heart, as some legends even suggest that she had on 2 separate crews of workers so that they could switch out and building would never cease. Sarah herself did all the architecture planning, and that led to odd things such as this staircase that simply disappeared into the ceiling, seemingly leading to nowhere. There were also several sets of small, winding staircases with stairs only about an inch apart from each other. Perhaps these were to further confuse spirits in the house, or just to help Sarah, as she got older and had arthritis, still manage to get around. Rumor has it that Sarah would disappear at 2 a.m. every night to a side room off of her bedroom, and there she would conduct seances every single evening, and in those seances, the spirits would tell her what to build next. Perhaps it's these spirits who are to blame for things like the door to nowhere, a normal door, but when you open it, there's nothing but a drop down to the floor far, far below. Sarah also filled her home with a lot of different symbols, including many references to the number 13. As you can see in this beautiful stained glass window, there are 13 little orbs right in there. You would see this all over in different places. In this grand room, the windows had Shakespearean quotes. Wide unclasped the tables of their thoughts, these same thoughts people this little world. Only Sarah knew why these choices were made. This is Sarah's bedroom, where eventually she would pass away. But even things like the kitchen had some interesting quirks to them, like this cabinet. A lot of mysteries here, like cupboards that open up into complete other places of the house. Nothing here makes sense. You also have to stop and look at all the little things, very intricate details, including this wallpaper that has actual gold in it that makes it sparkle as if glitter is all over it. This is how the house started. It was a very small, little house, and it eventually became this winding mansion that we see today. These pictures show the mansion before an earthquake happened in 1906 that destroyed a few of the upper levels. At that point, it was 7 stories tall. Instead of rebuilding upwards, Sarah chose to instead cordon off those sections. But a lot of the debris and pieces of the house that came down during that quake are still up in the attic. Luckily, during that quake, no one perished in this house, but Sarah was trapped in one of her rooms for several days. We're now on the 3rd floor, which is one of the ones with the most activity, looking around, seeing what we can find. No one's quite sure why there's so much ghostly activity here on the 3rd floor, but this is where the servants would stay. Sarah let them live with her in the mansion so that they were always available no matter what she may need. Though it's true that Sarah was a bit of a recluse and didn't go out much, she was supposedly still very kind to those who worked for her and considered her workers as almost a family. Maybe they all felt so welcome that they had to return here after they passed on. Catching ghosts on camera is nothing new. Some famous photographers in the past have even claimed that was their specialty. But here at the Winchester, they have a couple very interesting pictures to look at. In this one, you can see that white shape in the upper window. It's also highlighted down on the lower right-hand corner. Whatever that white thing is there, it almost looks like a figure of some sort. There was no curtain or anything else in the window at the time this picture was taken. Nobody can explain what that might be. Another very interesting image is this one taken inside the house. There were only 2 people in the picture when it was taken, the one on the left and the right. Right there in the middle, though, is that Sarah Winchester? Mourning and grief do interesting things to the human mind. It's no surprise that many did turn to spiritualism to try to find some answers for their tragedies. Even today, seances are a very popular way of trying to reach out and communicate with those who have passed on. As I mentioned before, Sarah supposedly held these every night here, and even now, sometimes famous mediums will come by and host them. What better place to find spirits than in a house that was built for them?
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt your video. This was filmed a little bit after that was recorded, a little more casual, but I do feel like what you're about to see needs some more explanation than what we have there. For some of the footage that we shot inside the mansion, we were actually on a tour with other people. Because of this, we couldn't really stop everything, talk about it, and then keep moving. Didn't want to hold everybody up or anything like that. So we were about to head into the basement. Now, one of the stories that's told about the basement is there's one of the old caretakers who has actually been seen, an actual full-body apparition of him moving coal from one place to another. He usually has a wheelbarrow ghost. That's what they call him. That's what they've seen, the wheelbarrow man.
This is an actual picture that hangs in the house, and this man on the left here is the one they've seen.
That's kind of what we were supposed to be on the look for down there. But another spirit that had been sometimes encountered was that of a child. They believe that this was probably one of the children that was from one of the caretakers, one of the servants, one of the maids, something like that, because of course Sarah Winchester did allow them to live in the mansion as part of their payment for taking care of her. We were told that what they figured best is that these children would possibly dare each other to go into the basement, dark, spooky. Even back then, ghost stories definitely had a hold on people. So they would be down there playing and stuff, and maybe the wheelbarrow guy would be like, hey, you kids, get out of here, something like that. But a lot of people had felt kind of like tugs, like a kid like grabbing their pant leg, or maybe a giggle, something like, along those lines of typical creepy children. To test this, we were deep into the basement in kind of a big empty area, just right there in the heart of it. Everybody was given a dum-dum, like lollipop, and this was to entice the children because even if they're dead, kids love candy. At least that's the hypothesis that we were going with. We actually have a whole bag of dum-dums here, so I can kind of show you what the experiment was about. Let me grab one of these. I'll get one with a nice flat wrapper. Okay. So everybody took a dum-dum just like this, and they were placing it in their palm. We lowered the lights a little bit, so the footage is going to be a little dim. And supposedly, after, kind of talking to them, explaining, hey, this is yours, whatever, the dum-dum would fall over if the kid was, trying to grab it. So that's kind of neat, definitely. Well, you know what? Really quick, let's switch over to the basement. You kind of understand the premise. You're going to see what happened when we did this. And then after we show you that footage, we're going to come back here and explain just a little bit more to you, okay? So real quick, check that out.
So here we are in the basement, and this is an area that's usually out of bounds, and people don't often get to come down here, only through special tours or permission. You can see that there's a lot going on down here, and this is the corridor where sometimes the wheelbarrow man is seen going up and down, and then we took our seats, and we're all gathered around in a circle as they dimmed the lights. I'm actually going to speed this up a little bit. It was a lot of just kind of sitting around, so I don't want to play you all of that, but this is the unedited footage. You can see those across from me with their lollipops in their hand standing up, and then my hand in the upper right hand corner. I'm about to bring it down further and you'll be able to see it just a little bit better. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to be quiet so that you can watch it. Just keep your eyes on the lollipop and the stick.
All right, welcome back. So now that you saw that, I know, again, I'm really sorry that it wasn't great focus. The way that we had to set it up, I actually had the camera kind of right here with my hand trying to get in focus here. Blake with me there, he wasn't able to like hold the camera and do his, so I just took it from him instead of him just focusing it on me. Quite honestly, we didn't really expect much to happen, so we didn't really think of it as a, we got to get this. Hopefully, as you saw in that footage, the dum-dum that I had in my hand, you know, it had fallen over, but I didn't personally think that was a big deal. That's kind of a gravity thing. And then somehow, you can actually see it. It actually moves just like this, and then very slowly makes its way up, and then it stands here for a little bit, and then continues on as something's like pulling it this way. As that happened, I definitely felt like, with it in my hand, that something was moving this, trying to pull it out of my hand, which, like, when it's here, I was freaked out at the point where I just, you know, grabbed it, I was done with it. Probably shouldn't have. I kind of wish now that I would have stayed in the moment and just kind of seen what happened, because if the next step would have been at like here and like floating away, would have been amazing. But just what we have there, I was super thrilled that we had this on camera. But as any good investigation goes, you can't just go by, you know, what you see. So like I said, we bought this whole bag of dum-dums. I wanted to try and recreate this to see if there was any way that I could explain this away. Now, a lot of people, you may see some in the background of that footage, they all have their wrappers on. Me personally, I felt that if we were tempting a kid, you know, hey, you know, you want some candy, with it unwrapped, way more tempting. You know, you can smell it, you get to see it. So I took it out of the wrapper, which did make it a little stickier, and, you know, had it held like this. See, as you can see, they are a little wobbly to begin with, right? So having it in my hand, just kind of like that, and it falls fairly easily. With the wrapper, even more so, that kind of weighs it down more, so it's a little firmer. But it did, even if you cup your palm a little bit, you know, it stays there. But if we go down to moving it like this, I have tried everything I can think of to duplicate what happened. I mean, tilting it, it falls like that. Let's open a fresh one here just so you can, because we've gone through lots of these, trying to get this to happen again. So if it fell down, you know, you can kind of get it up like that, but it goes super quick. I don't know what muscles it would take for me to get it to slowly come up. Like, this is the best I can do, like, balance-wise. And if I move at all, it falls right off. So, like I said, I don't know what happened down there. I did, when we were, you know, in the circle, I was trying to talk to whatever may be down there. It's like, hey, you know, this is your candy. We were told beforehand that apparently the spirit they thought was there was a big fan of grape, that was the favorite flavor. That's what usually fell down and signified the kid wanted it. Of course, I didn't get grape. They gave me an orange one. So I spent a little bit of my time telling him why orange was better than grape. And maybe the spirit, the boy, the girl, was like, hey, you know what? I like what this guy's saying. I want some orange. But either way, it was the most tempting one, I guess. Everybody that did see it was amazed that this was happening. The guide that was down there with us even pulled me aside at the end and was like, hey, you know, you can tell me, how did you do that? And I have no answer. We have gone through all of these dum-dums. There's wrappers all over the place. I've tried this about 40 or 50 different times. If there was anything that I could have done with the muscles in my hand or something to duplicate that, I can't do it again. I don't even know what I would do. I can't even get close. The closest that I've been able to get, I can definitely, you know, we can make it fall down, and if I kind of shake and tilt it, I can kind of get it to do like that, and that's about it. That's the closest I've been able to get. I have no idea what would make it fall, turn all the way over here, and then very slowly rise up and fall like you saw in the video. I'm going to show it to you guys one more time just so you can see it. I'll try to even lighten it a little bit. One thing that I personally have always hated about ghost shows and things like that is, you know, dramatic music, people jumping and like, oh, what's that? You know, we don't want to do anything like that. We definitely want to investigate more paranormal places. I think that that whole side of things very interesting, but we want to bring you guys the truth. So in the future, as of right now, anything we do with this is going to be 100% what we actually saw. If we go investigate, even a famous haunted place, if nothing happens, that's what we're going to show you. Might be a little more boring of a video, but the truth, I think, is way more important than entertainment. However, if something does happen, I think that makes it all the more interesting. So thank you for sticking through this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on what this might be. Maybe buy yourself some dum-dums, see if you can make it happen with your hand. Like I said, I had the wrapper off. If that helps you any, you can give it a shot. Let me know what your results are, or if you've had any experiences like this, we would love to hear about them. And moving forward, I think we're going to try to do, a couple more ghost things, because before we went in here, I was definitely leaning more towards probably a skeptical side of this kind of thing, but this has gone a really long way in making me much more of a believer in this kind of thing. And I'm really interested to get out there and try to uncover some of this unknown and just answer questions that I personally have after this experience. So like I said, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the video.
So this is the same footage. I did lighten it a little bit with editing. That's all I've done, just so it's a little more visible, that we can actually see a little more clearly what's going on. You can definitely see the lollipop head and the stick there. Just holding it out in my hand, and you'll notice that it does begin to just slowly move. The speed that it's going and moving like that, I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But again, at this point, I could still kind of chalk it up to just my hand, maybe muscles, whatever. But this is the part that really pushed it over for me. It began to just slowly tilt up. It starts right there, very, very slowly moving. Like I said, it definitely felt like there was like a hand, somebody doing this, some other force beyond that, which I'd felt, earlier on the lollipop. It was able to take it completely from down all the way back straight up and then back down on the opposite side. Very chilling, but awesome to experience.
Well, that was certainly a hauntingly good time. I think it's safe to say that the Winchester Mystery House will continue to delight for another 100 years. My name is David, and this has been Abnormal Voyages. Thanks for tagging along. We hope you have a very happy Halloween. And remember, be careful what doors you walk through. You never know where they're going to lead to.
Thanks for watching Abnormal Voyages. Thanks for watching.